It's been a while. I'm back, I guess. Anyways, if you are rewatching this, I would suggest jump forward a couple minutes. Hopefully, we'll get going. Have some people in here, and we'll talk about some stuff. Earlier than I usually go live, but got some free time right now, so let's uh let's run it. Okay. So yeah, I haven't been on for a bit, and been kind of pondering whether or not I even want to do YouTube anymore. You know, it's I don't know, got a lot of stuff going on in life, and life is happening, right? So, welcome in, welcome in. So, how's everybody doing this afternoon? This lovely Sunday. It's getting warm out. It's been warm out. Luckily, it hasn't been too hot though. So, anyways, so yeah, I hope everybody is having a good weekend. What does that do? I'm gonna leave it lower by showing support. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, there's some different stuff up there right now. I think my battle with YouTube is still going on. They say my tax forms don't match my ID. I don't know what language you're reading it in, but they do. And I went on a chat with somebody. What's up, Lorenzo? How you doing? What's up, Moving? This is something new. I wasn't doing this last time I was live, where it's got the little numbers of who. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but yeah, I've been going at it with YouTube, trying to get them to release funds that are owed. It's not a lot of money, you know what I mean? A little something. But I'm doing well, guys. I appreciate it. So I got on this chat with YouTube, and you know, because all my information matches, but they say it don't. So they say, well, you may be taxed at a higher rate. And I said, go for it. Tax me at the highest rate. Just cash me out, you know? But yet they won't. So now it's a war with YouTube. And I know I'm on YouTube right now, but, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, it's Sunday here. And it's my first live in a couple of weeks. I was doing them more frequently, but you know what? I do the gym, I work a full time job, and then some. I appreciate that, Cora. Um, you know, the gym, full time job, trying to do YouTube, family. Um, you know, it's just a lot of stuff going on. And when YouTube plays games with me, it's like, you know, it pisses me off, to be honest. You know what I mean? What's up, sexy Latina? Glad you made it. That's good. So, you know, you try to follow all the YouTube terms of conduct or policy or whatever so that your videos get more views. And like make a higher rate or whatever on the RPM or the CPM or whatever that is. And now I say, you know what, screw it. I'm not going to worry about any of that stuff. When I jump on here, I'm just going to be me. I'm going to talk like I talk. If the story involves a gun, we're going to call it such, not a pew pew to try to appease YouTube. If we're talking about drugs, methamphetamines or heroin or whatever it is, we're not going to make cute little words to try to make YouTube happy. Screw YouTube. That's what I say. They want to play games. Their customer service don't help. It's not a lot of money they even owe me. It's a couple $100, But it's the principle of the matter. And I told them, tax me at the highest rate. I don't give a shit. I have a job. This is not my only source of income. I don't need YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, my lights are not going to be shut off if I don't get the YouTube check. I have a job for that. My wife makes money as well and works. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm not dependent on this like some YouTubers are. If they don't pay me, then it is what it is. You know what I mean? I know, don't want to get banned, right? Oh no, they're going to strike my account and they might not pay me. Well, shit. Maybe they'll strike my account and they will pay me. How about that? Anyways, hit that like button, guys, if you would. I appreciate it. And shout out to everybody that's checking out the live right now. I do appreciate you. So what's everybody up to today? How's life treating you? How we doing with our sobriety? Next, I believe it is next Saturday or Sunday, August the 9th, that'll be 21 years of sobriety. And I want to give a shout out to Monk McCool. He's celebrating 21 years of sobriety today also. So shout out to him. Congratulations, bro. Let's see. Stores are busy, huh? Damn. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. I brought y'all back up to speed a little bit. The thing with this channel is I try to come on here and be super positive all the time, and everything is great. Like, you can do it. Some people don't want to do it, and if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. Who the hell am I to tell you what to do? But when it comes to this sobriety thing, especially with the drugs and stuff, there's overdoses, people are dying, going to prison, all that kind of shit, you know what I mean? So if that's the option that you would rather choose, then by all means do it. Because I'll tell you, for me, I had to bump my head a few times to figure some shit out. And that was my path, There wasn't anybody on YouTube saying, oh, I got clean and you can get clean and let's all get clean together. Like, it wasn't, any of that stuff going on. There were family members that loved me and knew what was going on, that I was killing myself slowly and then not so slowly. But, this is, what my channel is about sobriety. And if you're trying to get sober and clean, then there's a place for that, and life will be better. Life doesn't become suddenly perfect because what's up, Ezekiel? Yes, definitely good to be back. How you doing, brother? Life doesn't just become perfect. It's like, oh, well, I'm sober. Why is this happening to me? Life happens. You know what I mean? Life is going to happen. Life is constantly happening. And even in a sober state of mind, sometimes we make bad decisions. It just is what it is. I mean, if we didn't make bad decisions, we never would have been addicts in the first place, right? Because somebody would have laid that line out in front of you, you'd have been like, oh, hell no. I ain't fucking with that shit. But we tend to make bad decisions, and it's about changing that. You know, it's the total life change. Do you, Ezekiel? What you got, bro? Where's Joel at? But you know, that's the thing. It's the total life change, right? And you know, there's some YouTubers that I follow because I like their prison content. But one thing I notice about YouTubers that do prison content, they talk like they're still in prison. And I don't talk that way anymore. I made that total life change. I realized that, you know, saying homeboy and, you know, like just the little catchphrases that they tend to use, that people that are incarcerated, the way they talk, like it doesn't really have a place in the real world, in my opinion. So, you know, whether you constantly say homeboy or you say essay or cuz or whatever, trip on this type of shit, you know what I mean? Like, people in the real world aren't tripping on this. You know what I mean? Like, that's good stuff, Ezekiel. That's real good stuff, bro. I'm proud of you. Keep it up. Now get in the gym and start hitting those weights, bro. Let's go. Let's get this. What's up, Solid Behind Blue Eyes? How are you tonight? Any updates? I haven't seen anything on your channel recently. I hope he's doing all right. But yeah, you know, that's my thing. And yeah, I'm doing all right. I appreciate it. That's like my thing lately. I noticed that like when I watch prison genre content, everybody, you know, some of these guys that say, oh, you know, I've been out since 2017 or whatever, and you still talk like you're walking the yard, homie. Like, what change have you made? You know what I mean? Periodically still no mobility devices. Damn, hopefully that situation gets better there, you know? Now for the bad news, I'm right now dealing with a bad poison ivy outbreak, and I might have a brain tumor. Are you serious, Ezekiel? Bro, get that checked out, you know? Definitely get that checked out. That's not good. The poison ivy, that you'll get over that, but what's going on? You getting headaches or something or what? Yeah, it's a great movie. Solid. But you know, that's kind of that's something when I watch those channels, that's something that kind of bothers me because people talk about change and yeah, definitely a good one. They talk about change and oh, I'm doing it for the kids, but then they talk like they're still walking on the yard. You know what I mean? Like that, if you've made that change and you were fortunate enough to get out, make that change. Leave that shit in there, you know? Like people talking about prison politics and shit. Like, come on, knock it off already. Knock it off. You know? And what drives me even more crazy, I think, it adds more flavor to people's stories, but when they're dropping names left and right about people and crimes that have been committed, that's another thing. Like, come on, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? Knock it off. Hospital called me back. I had to do a CAT scan. Yes, really bad headaches for the past 3 weeks ever since I got paint in my right and left eye. The paint has been gone. Damn, well, I hope everything works out all right with that, Ezekiel. I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Man, that's not good. Has it been hot out there? It's been warm here in California, but nothing nothing too crazy. It's been a pretty mild summer, in my opinion. And I shouldn't say that out loud because it'll probably be 105 next week. And I don't do good in the real hot, you know? Never gets past 60 here. Wow. Damn. That's lovely. I love like hoodie and beanie weather. Like if I could wear a hoodie and beanie all year round, I would. I truly enjoy it when the weather's like that. I don't like the hot. I know you can take off layers to cool down, but NorCal coast, okay, nice. Yeah, like it. I don't do good in the heat. I start slowing down, and people at work are checking on me. I'm kind of near. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you get that almost like that Oregon weather, I guess, where it's gloomy all the time. Yeah, I don't like the heat at all. The heat just makes me sluggish. But yeah, so like I said, making some changes to the channel. If you guys seen the video I dropped early this morning, uh, I haven't really been dropping content lately because I don't feel positive all the time, which is normal. That's okay. I don't have to be positive all the time. But I felt like for this YouTube thing, I was trying to be somebody that I'm not necessarily. You know, I do genuinely care about people for the most part. I do want generally, or I do genuinely want to see people succeed at this sobriety thing and beating the hell out of that addiction. But I'm not always a positive person, and a lot of times I'll break out the phone before I start work. I get there a little early, and I'll make a little short video in the car, and try to say something inspiring or something thought provoking. And I just ain't been feeling it, like I've been on some negative vibes, and so I just don't post anything. But I think moving forward, I'm going to give you guys more of an insight of who I really am. And if it's a bad day, then I'm going to let you guys know, you know what? Everything sucks today, but that's all right because I'm still sober. And I'm not going to throw my, wow, you got a sponsee in England. The internet is amazing, right? So, I'm going to keep it 100 basically, and if it's not a good day, then I'm gonna let you guys know, hey, you know what, I'm mentally on some shit today, and I'm not feeling it. This is bothering me, but it's not a reason for me to go pick up and use or drink, because what's that gonna fix? You know what I mean? Like, that's like a misconception, I think, with some people that are new to sobriety, that once you stop using, that all the clouds part and the sun comes out, and holy shit, like, this is the world I've been missing. Everything's perfect here. That's not what it is. And exactly, a drink or a drug only makes everything worse. That's right. The answer to your problems is not at the bottom of the sack or the bottom of the bottle. And although maybe it'll make you feel good for a little while, but once you sober up or you come down or whatever it is you do to come off of whatever it is you used, you still got the same problems. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit deeper. You know what I mean? Maybe you've dug the hole a little bit deeper, and now you're just making it worse. You're compounding the problem, and it is what it is, right? So, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with things. I'm going to try to post a little bit more frequently. And what's up, Henrique? How you doing? I'm gonna try to post more. I'll try to get a couple shorts out a week, whether they're good, bad, indifferent. You know, I was driving to work and traffic sucked and I'm pissed off, and now I gotta fucking come in here and work 10 hours, and I'm surrounded by idiots. Like, I'm not necessarily surrounded by idiots, but you guys get the idea, right? And you know, just some real life shit basically is what I'm gonna put out. And I'm still gonna have my message of sobriety and get on some topics. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking too, you know, like um, you know, whatever's in the news, maybe speak on that a little bit if I know enough about it to speak on it, you know. Um, you know, one thing I do kind of want to push is things to work on. Maybe I'll make a video on this. Things to work on when you're new in sobriety, right? Oh, football is coming, Ezekiel, and we are definitely going to be talking about that. Yeah, definitely. Bang, bang, Niner gang, baby. That's right. That's right. So, yeah, I usually like listen to something while I'm at work, while I'm driving, and like I'll put on a podcast or something, politics maybe. I'll put together a playlist on YouTube, and I'm just kind of burning out on all of it. You know, like I said, the prison genre is interesting. Hearing stories about other states, and but what is, you know, what trips me out is, like, say you're listening to a guy from Florida, right? Talk about his prison experience. It's interesting to me because I never did time in Florida, so I don't know what that's like. You know what I mean? I just know what people are telling stories about on YouTube, but it somehow always becomes a competition with California. You know, uh, and you know, California always comes. Yeah, it's getting played out, to be honest, in my opinion, and it's not a competition. Jesus Christ, like, why does it always have to? Oh, those Texas guys are soft. Somebody may say, you know what I mean? It's not the California penal system. Who cares? If you did 20 years, you did 20 years, and whether you're in the allegedly softest pen or the hardest pen, or you know what I mean? Like, it's 20 years you lost. Like, it's nonsense. So I used to watch court TV. I don't so much. I don't really watch a whole lot of TV anymore, to be honest with you. But you know, it always becomes, you know, and I get it. Alpha males, right? Did time where, yeah, and there's a guy I've been watching lately. He's a good storyteller. I think it's called Finally Free from the Feds. He's an Indian guy. He was uh, I forget what group he ran with, but he was like American Indian, great storyteller, and like I can just listen to this guy for, like, he does longer videos. He'll talk for 45 minutes, an hour, and like when he puts out something long, I like it because that's an hour that's going to be killed at work listening to what he's talking about. And yeah, he talks about the feds, and the feds definitely suck. Um, you know, I've been very fortunate in my life. I didn't do nearly as much time as some people have, and you know, organizing the way we are during the... What's up, Joey? How you doing, bud? Definitely in the house. I've had to put a lot of attention into Facebook groups that are organizing the way we were during the... Oh, okay. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, think that, what's up, Common Sense? How are you? Good to see you. Or good to hear from you. I can't see you. All I can see is your little logo. Okay, Fed Family Groups. All right. Cool. So, you know what? Give me a quick second, guys. It sounds like somebody is here. Let me go check that out real quick, and I will be right back. Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves real quick. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Smash that like button. I think I'll use the restroom real quick and see who's here, and I'll be right back with you. Give me just a second, guys. All right, guys, I'm back. My apologies for the interruption. Oh, okay. Everybody hit that like button, says Common Sense. I appreciate you, Common Sense. So, I forget where I was at. But I was thinking of something I was going to say when I came back and just totally left my mind, you know? So I think, though, like I'm going to work on a video about maybe 5 things you should do when you're new into sobriety. Maybe some tips on, you know, how to approach that and what to expect. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you guys are in sobriety, what's something that happened when you were early in sobriety that surprised you? How about we do that? Life after jail, how to reestablish. I like that. Definitely. And it can be very challenging, you know? Even if you weren't in there that long, it can be very challenging. For people that were in there for long stretches of time, it's even more challenging. You know what I mean? The support, you need to have support coming out, obviously. You know, that little $200 gate money, I don't know if it's still $200, but it was $200 when they let me out. If I didn't have a family to go to, I would have been homeless quick. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, and it definitely, that most definitely is. My first job out when I paroled, I've told this story many times, but the Liberty Tax Group, you know, I'm sure you've seen them around. $200 in a Narcan. Wow, that's crazy. So I was having trouble finding work, you know, convicted felon, fresh out, parole, blah, blah, blah. And I had a certain look about me that, you know, I was a sign spinner. Yes, absolutely. So, you know, a lot of people get in for an interview because this was before everything was being done online. You had to go fill out an application and see people and talk to them. Hi, my name is so-and-so. You know, I'm here for the job that you posted or whatever. People would look at me and, no, we're good. We're good. But Liberty Tax, at the time, I want to say this was 2006. minimum wage was probably $8.50 an hour, somewhere around there, and Liberty Tax was paying $12 an hour to hold that sign out there. You know, that with the arrow pointing to the office. So I was on Baseline and Waterman. Oh, definitely, I agree. And I appreciate your comment. So, yeah, I mean that's where I started, and to be honest with you, that was a very trying time for me. Baseline and Waterman in San Bernardino. If you're familiar, it's it was crack central. Everything was going on down there. If you wanted to score some dope or something, it was right there. Prostitutes. Uh, Now there's a lot of homeless folks over that way, but at that time, you know, like a lot of gangsters rolling around. Here I am, fresh out on parole, wearing a turquoise dress and a little crown, and I'm waving a sign, but I'm making $12 an hour. And, you know, I ran with that. I had that job for like maybe about 2 to 3 months. And I used it as a stepping stone because now, yes, I'm a convicted felon. Yes, I'm on parole, but I'm also employed, and I have somewhat steady employment for the last couple of months. I have a good reference from them because I never turned down a shift. If they needed me to go to a different location, no problem. I'm on my way. You know what I mean? And so I built from that, you know? And I went into a job doing maintenance work in a senior living community. And no, I don't. Misconception. Maybe I do. I don't know. Do I look like the stereotypical? Because I have the goatee and a couple of tattoos. I don't know. That's not the look I'm definitely not the look I'm going for, Fatih, if that's what I look like. But, you know, I am who I am, right? And you know, I've been out for 19 years. So I'm in Cali. I'm in Southern California, the high desert of Southern California, Victorville area. Originally from San Bernardino, though, that's where I lived when I did all my dirt. So, you didn't have a job for 8 years, started telemarketing, then gas station, and finally got a good job. Been there 15 years. Yeah, and you know what? And that's the thing. Uh, I wasn't on a fire crew. I didn't qualify. I didn't have enough time. I was trying to get to that because that's where it was at. You know, it's where guys were eating the best and stuff. You know, you're all right, Ezekiel. But yeah, like Travis says, you know, like you start with what you're able to get, right? Uh, no, I don't get unemployment. I I have a full time job. I'm a truck driver. So, but you know that's kind of how it goes. Getting out, like you gotta get what's available, and you gotta hold on to it, and hold on to that shit because it's income coming in. And somebody like me that was dealing dope and hustling and stuff like that, like I needed regular money coming in because it was too easy to fall back into the trap of, oh, you know, my connection's over here. He says he's got a quarter pound and a gun waiting for me. And, you know, I am in my garage. You're very observant. So, you know, idle hands are the devil's playground, they say. And for me, my mind is the dangerous place because and that's why, like, a lot of times, like, I'll have something on TV and uh I'm not even really paying attention. It's just keeping my mind occupied enough to where my mind don't start wandering off to, wow, like, I can do this and I can, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, right? Like, I don't do that anymore, but I used to. And it took me a while to break that cycle of saying, you know what, screw it. You people aren't going to disrespect me for this chump change that I'm making, you know what I mean? Um, like, it took a very humbling experience, and that's the total life change that they talk about in the anonymous groups, right? Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous. It takes a total life change. And if you're serious about it, it's something that's very doable. If you're just playing the game, how much do you make as a truck driver per hour, brother? I do all right, bro. I do all right, Like, I'm not wealthy by any means, but my bills are paid, And I live in California, so but like, it's getting me by, Some of the things I wish they would have made available in prison. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Monk? Hey, let me give a quick shout out to Monk. Monk is celebrating 21 years of sobriety today. Shout out to you, brother. You are the man. We talk behind the scenes from time to time, and I appreciate you, bro. And shout out to you on your day. Salute. It's water, guys. It's not vodka. Yeah. So, some of the things in prison, they had this California model going and stuff. I used to drink Jack Daniels, Fatih. Not anymore, though. I'm sober, bro. I've been sober for a long time. But I used to drink Jack Daniels. I appreciate it, I guess you would say, Uh, celebrating with the apple flavored soda. That's what's up, bro. Yeah, shout out to you, man. Like, you're really doing the damn thing. And I appreciate your friendship, bro. So, let's talk about prison a little more and what some of the things, they did that California model. I guess they stopped doing the California model because they said it wasn't working. Like, as a California inmate, let me say this. From what I've seen of the California model, I don't need COs playing sporting activities with me and stuff like that. What I need, Black Velvet was a very good one, yes. What I need for rehabilitation in California is, okay, let me break this down for you guys, all right? Coming in as an inmate, I'm not living right. I did something wrong, obviously. I'm not a good rule follower or whatever you want to say. Yeah, I agree. So, by me coming to prison and we're going to have a basketball tournament with the guards, California model shit, right? What the fuck does that do for me? Like, I'm not going to the NBA after this shit. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be a professional baseball player or something. So, doing sporting activities and making me drop out of whatever it is, being a general population inmate so that I have access to better programs, make the programs available to everybody. You know what I mean? Like, isn't the idea, and California's just a big money laundering scheme overall, in my opinion, solid. But yes, I completely agree. Gavin Newsom's buddies are getting all that money, But what I need as an inmate is Teach me about finances. Teach me about how important my credit score is, right? Teach me about getting a job and keeping a job. And maybe have some pathways to where when I get out, maybe there's a job available for me. You know what I mean? Yeah, and it absolutely does. Solid, I agree. Keeping fellows out of all programs and denying them a chance. It's, yeah, you know, they don't even, yeah, and they don't teach none of this stuff in school, you know? Like, what happened to shop class? And I remember I had an elective of typing when they were typewriters back in the day. And that's something that I can still use to this day. I go into the office, and I'm a truck driver, and I get on the computer and I start typing, and people are like, "Damn, Rob, you know how to type like that?" Yeah, because I learned that shit in middle school, but I don't think they teach that stuff anymore. You know what I mean? Like a lot of stuff, like auto shop classes, so you can work on your car. Wow, that'd be something great, you know. Um, but in prison, they pick and choose who gets to take advantage of these programs so that they have a chance at making parole, or if maybe if they're not a lifer, so they have a chance at getting out and being a better version of themselves. But they pick and choose who, if you come over here and program with these child molesters and shit, then we'll give you all the classes so you can be a successful person on the outside. It's a bunch of bullshit. And now we're getting to the real Rob here. Not all Mr. Nice Guy, right? Because the system's a fucking joke. You know what I mean? And, the government, especially in California, is a freaking joke. That high-speed train that was supposed to take you from LA to San Francisco, they're like $150 million over budget and haven't laid a single friggin' track. Like, where'd all this money go? Billions. Like, I don't think people understand how much $1 billion is. I really don't. Like, you give me $1 billion, like my whole family is set for life. And beyond that, like generational, that's generations, Give me $1 million and I'm good. So, let me see if I can catch up on some of these comments real quick. Dude, the registered offender that lives near us got an $8,000 grant when he got released. How much? See, that's what I'm talking about, bro. Like, wow, that's freaking crazy. Don't get me on the state budget. Yeah. They spend billions and the population's increasing. Was that their intent? To make more people homeless? Like, I don't know. Vote for Chad Bianco next November. You did have financial literacy your third year. Well, that's good. Yeah, that's good, Monk. Like, I don't get it. I know history and stuff like that's important in school, because if you don't know your history, then it tends to repeat itself, right? But, like that financial literacy and stuff like that, that should be, Common Core, stuff that's taught. Like, how do our kids graduating high school and they don't know shit about credit? They don't know how to start a bank account. You know what I mean? Like, they don't know shit about shit. But, they know about the War of 1812. Wow. Mm-hmm. Same here. Solid. The interest alone on that could feed every homeless. Absolutely, yes. Exactly. And we as citizens, they keep us so busy working to pay the taxes that a lot of people just don't pay attention to it because nothing's ever going to change, right? You know, like, what does it matter? A lot of people say. But it's bullshit. It's straight up bullshit. And, you know, it's our tax dollars. Let's just increase the gas tax, right? Why not? So we can fix roads. And then they're talking about they want to do a tax on how many miles a year you drive. Well, doesn't the gas tax cover that? Because obviously if I drive more miles, I'm paying more gas tax. Jesus Christ. Sorry I keep saying Jesus Christ, but they keep us scratching to survive because it keeps us in line. Absolutely. Exactly. I seen a thing, I don't know if it was in San Francisco or where it was, but they made it was a bathroom basically. Oh yeah, if they had to spend their own money, it'd be a whole different story, wouldn't it? Solid. They made this bathroom, and just one bathroom, like single stall, and it was like $2.7 million. Because, you know, in my opinion, they have to do this environmental study, right? So a couple $100,000 goes to, you know, the whoever's in charge of the project goes to this one's buddy or that one's buddy. Yeah, I know, babe. But, you know, they spend $100,000 to do the project and 2.6 million in kickbacks to everybody else. Like, when does this shit stop, you know? Yeah, So, I don't know. We're just kind of all over the place here today, guys. Appreciate you guys tapping in. We'll run with it for a little while longer. She sure did, Monk. She sure did. What's up, Safe Hain? How you doing? If you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Hit the like button if you would. Yeah, exactly. Focus on reducing the death tolls of people dying from dumb people being on their phones and driving in. I agree with you, Ezekiel. Some things, like drinking and driving, like that's I'll tell you guys. No, actually, I'm not going to tell that story, but you know, you definitely shouldn't be drinking and driving, right? Like you a lot of times you think you're all right and you're not, and then something happens and people's lives are affected, you know? And not only should you not be doing that, but you should not be riding with people that have been drinking. If, you know, your first option is to ride with somebody that's been drinking, call somebody. Have somebody that's sober come and get you. That way, they're not out there drinking and driving, you know? Like, that's kind of a pet peeve of mine and my wife's, you know? Oh, don't even get me started on that, Monk. Tell you this, we are paying them to keep it. I agree. Well, it's like some of the medicines they got me on, bro. It's like, okay, we're going to give you this one. Now, it involves you last night, Sexy Latina. I don't want to put that out there. They give you one medicine to cure this ailment, but the side effects cause these other ailments. So now you need a medicine over here to counteract that one. Then you need a third medicine to counteract both. And it's like, you're absolutely right, Travis. You know, when we're younger, we think, you know, we're invincible. Nothing can stop us. We can do whatever we want, and there's very little to no consequences, you know? And yeah. Uh, right. Yeah, exactly. And that was one of my things. Like I got into it with my doctor because he wants to give me this pill and that pill, and I'm like, well, what could I change about my lifestyle maybe or my eating habits that would make it where maybe I don't need these pills? Like the cholesterol pill. What am I eating that is raising my cholesterol? And like it seemed like he really didn't want to talk too much about that. He'd rather just write a prescription. Went on natural meds and lost 150 pounds. You're gonna have to tell me about that sometime, Monk. Yeah, and I'm working on the clean foods myself again because my weight went up. I was doing real good. I was about 190. Uh, now I'm back to 220 ish, and I don't like it. I don't feel good. Um, when my weight starts getting higher, I am fat white. And you know what? I believe that solid because it seems like have gotten a lot hazier over the last few years, and I'm not that old. I'm in my early 50s. Yeah, I cut out the soda myself, and that's definitely helping. You know what I mean? Wow. So, things I'm working on. Now, if you see my video this morning, you will also notice my mantra, if you will, family, fitness, and freedom. We've added another F to the 3. So now we have faith. We're starting with faith, family, fitness, and freedom. Because I'll tell you what, if that man upstairs wasn't looking out for me, I'd have been gone a long time ago, guys. Many, many, many occasions I should have either been doing a really long stretch in prison or dead. And then see if you're still on when I get... Okay, sounds good, baby. You be careful out there, okay? Yeah, maybe I'll go for another half an hour or so. We'll see. But yeah, be careful out there. So, can't tell you how many occasions things could have gone really, really bad, My brother, huh? Okay. I live my life in my own terms. Nobody else tells me what to do, what to believe in or stand for. I'm the only one that decides what to move, when to move. Makes sense. Makes sense. Maybe you intervened in your own takedown. Yeah. No such things as an atheist in a foxhole. Man, preach, Travis, preach. It's funny. I remember I went to a church service in North Kern State Prison, Delano. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I'm not proud of this, but I wasn't there for the church service. There were people from other buildings that happened to be at that same church service, and I'm not going to get into the weeds on that. But in the course of being in that church service, the preacher said something that really stuck with me. And he said, if you can't come to finding God on your own terms, the Lord has a funny sense of humor, and he'll find a way to make you hear the message. Basically, like saying, well, you're in prison and now you're hearing the message. Why don't you try to do that in the free world? And I was like, wow, that's deep, What the hell are you talking about, fat white? Don't tread on me or you will meet your maker. Okay, I'm not sure where you're going with that, but okay, cool. Faith is very important, not just foxhole conversation where you get in trouble and you are like, God, get me out of this. And yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. Once you have a real spiritual awakening, you'll keep looking to raise the bar. Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not sure if I've ever truly. Okay, I see. All right, fat white, gotcha. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've ever truly had a spiritual awakening. I am a believer in God, and I do believe Jesus died on the cross for my sins. But like I meet people and I hear stories of people who uh, had that spiritual awakening, and I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that yet. But I do have a relationship with God, and I am grateful that He has looked out for me for many years. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying, Solid. Hey, it's all good. I don't want to call you fat white. I'm going to call you yes, I am. Yes, I am. I hear you, brother. Monk, one of my favorite sayings, I thought agnostics for a long time, but older I get more I believe. I'm the same way, Travis. When I came out, when I paroled and I ended up in a rehab, uh, when we got to, okay, Wolf, cool. All right, Wolf, I appreciate you, bro. Uh, yeah, and I'm kind of the same way, Solid. Like going to church and stuff. Like I've been to a few that I like, but they just they make it so much about money. You know what I mean? I know somebody out there can give $500 today. It's like, motherfucker, like I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna keep the lights on in this bitch. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean that with all due respect, but you know, sounds good, Wolf. So, yeah, that's my main thing with that. But I do pray. I don't really read the word much, to be honest. I'm aware of the word. I've read the word in the past, but one thing that turned me off when I was in prison is there was a guy. He was always like in the prayer circle, and there really are, Travis. Um, he was always in the prayer circle. They called him to roll it up. He was going home, and he was giving his Bibles and his religious literature away. And I told him, I said, "Hey, homeboy, I think you should take that stuff with you. You're going to need it more out there than you are in here." There was dope and stuff in there, but it was more of a controlled. It was a lot harder to get than on the streets. And he told me, he said, "I'm about a quarter ounce overweight. I'm about to go fix that problem. You keep this stuff. I don't need it no more." And I thought to myself, wow, like you were hiding behind that Bible, you piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like you were, I'm a Christian. I'm in prison. I'm a Christian now. And I'm not saying, look, if you're in prison and you're a Christian and that's truly what you're doing and that's what you believe and that's what you stand on, more power to you. But if you get locked up and now you're scared, now you want to be a Christian, keep riding with it, you know what I mean? Because I'll tell you this much, if you're claiming to be in that Christian car and you're buying papers from people, chances are you're going to have something coming from your people. You know what I mean? Because it ain't no joke, Boys can call me those names. Nobody that is sensitive can just get a helmet. Yeah, and there are, and you know, like I said, if that's truly you, then so be it. You know what I mean? But like that's, in my opinion, that's like one of the worst things you can do. Like people, when I was locked up, used to always say, "You weren't scared when you were on the street, homeboy. Don't be scared now." But people get in there and they realize the seriousness of some places you can end up. What's up, Lou? How you doing, bro? I'm doing good. I hope you're well also. They get scared, they pee down their leg, and now they're a Christian. You know what I mean? Uh, you keeping a tab? Are you rebel? Rebel Wolf? Don't worry, I won't time you out unless you really go off the deep end. I'm not easily triggered. Been there, done that. So, um, but yeah, I think that, yeah, and it's unfortunate, Monk. It really is. I hate it when people, they take advantage of that to, right? And that's all we can do. I think I'm gonna just call you Rebel. That's all we can do, Rebel. Some, I don't see myself as a POS anymore. At one time, I tried to be a good drug addict with morals and stuff like that, but it's kind of a contradictory thing, right? Like your addiction is a crazy thing. Addiction will fuck you up and make you do shit that is unlike you. You know what I mean? But you know, just we do the best we can. Only full man. Got to get the full timers, huh? Yeah, and that's really how I felt with it. There was one here in the high desert. Uh, I didn't really like the guy's style, but there was he really helped the family out when it came to a death in the family, and I remember that. Like I don't attend his church or anything, but like they were really like it wasn't just about the money. You know what I mean? Like they really helped out in the time of need, and he's definitely on my list for when those Powerball numbers come in. I'm definitely going to give a huge blessing their way. I don't know if the Powerball numbers are ever going to come in, but I'm in the game. You know what I mean? I'm going to stay in the game until I die broke, or I'll probably have a heart attack if the numbers ever do hit. So at least the family would be well off. If you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe. Hit that like button. Uh, on deep dives in the Bible in a scholarly. Oh, okay. Hey, we're all sinners. Monk says if I win Powerball, I'm gonna get a fur cape. Nice. Not a coat, a cape. Man. And then we'll go see your movie or what? About Super Monk? Exactly, Travis. Like that's the thing. I think to myself a lot of times that God won't allow me to win that jackpot because it'll ruin my life. You know, uh, my life's pretty good. You know, it's all perspective, I guess. I could say my life's pretty bad. I'm probably going to be working till the day I die. You know what I mean? But there you go, Monk. Hey guys, give me a quick second. I'm gonna run and grab a refill on the drink, and I'll be right back with you. We'll keep this rocking for a little bit. Just give me a second. Be patient, please. Go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe button, comment. Share the live. Coming in, it's coming in. No, Looks like somebody wants to be a part of this. Oh, God. Easy, girl. Easy. Easy. All right, come on, get down. Million ruins people. Most people. 100 million, not so much. Yeah, I agree. There's a support group for people that win the lotto multiple times. I'm sure there is. I'm sure it's not what you're saying, but I'm sure I'd have quite a support group if I won $100 million. People coming out of the woodwork. So I'm telling you, I win that money, I'm going to make some homeless guy's day on my way into the lotto office to snap that picture of the winner. I'm going to be like, 10 grand, buddy. All you got to do is come inside and take a picture real quick. Hey, sexy Latina, you made it back. Good. With 85 grand in the bank. Yep. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, yeah, definitely would have an entourage with that. Let me let her back in the house real quick. Come on, let's go. Come on, go. All right, my bad, guys, my bad. I'm back. I just gave at least 30 grand some military veterans. That's nice of you. You faction in the rear of. I am clean and sober. NYC 999. Well, thank you, baby. Yeah, I figure, really, all I need is the house. Give me a paid off house, no mortgage, and life would go to the next level, Congratulations on that, NYC. How much time you got? The military is definitely very important. I agree with you, Rebel. Best of household. I see. Yeah, I got both right now. 15 years. Congrats on that, bro. We're celebrating Monk's anniversary today. He's got 21 years, and I'm coming up on 21 in about a week. No fronts, though, so I got 20. You know what I mean? Who doesn't want a paid off house, right? I'm telling you. That get that part out of the way, and I think life would be a lot smoother for sure, you know? Uh, yeah, and I got nothing but respect. Solid's got just past 23 years. Look at that. Like, man, we got like 100 years of sobriety in this group right now. That's amazing. What happened when the housing market crashed, Monk, or what? At least the car is pretty clear, right? I got about 3.5 more years on mine, but we're working on it. We're working on it. I'm telling you, I don't need the super big jackpot. I just need, a decent little payout. Let me get this card note knocked out, and we'll be playing on a better level for sure. Yeah, so let's see. Oh, for less than 25 seconds. That's awesome, Monk. Hell yeah. That is what's up. Appreciate you, NYC. That's very kind of you. No doubt about it. And hopefully he will be making it home soon, you know? I really hope so. Yeah, thanks again, NYC. I appreciate that super chat. So, anyways, we're about an hour and 12 in. Don't really have anything else to do for a little while. Maybe we'll just keep on rocking with this for a while, I guess, huh? Yeah, I agree. I agree, Solid. So, kind of ran out of things to talk about. What do you guys want to talk about? We've already talked about corruption and stuff. What I think they should do with the prison system as well as the education system. I'll give you guys another rundown real quick. Moving forward, I'd like to do shorts during the week for the channel with something inspirational, motivational, something to get you thinking. They might not all be positive moving forward. We're just going to keep it real, Let's talk worst day sober. Earthquakes. Oh, God. The earthquakes. Tsunami watch and all that stuff. Oh, my God. That never really materialized here. But yeah, moving forward, there may be days where you see that there's a short from Broken Bobby, and I might not be my jovial self. Hope everybody's having a great day. You may see the short from Bobby, and I might have smoke coming out of my ears, and I might be talking shit about somebody or something or whatever's bothering me on that day, because sobriety doesn't make your life perfect, guys. Grumpy old dude, right, Monk? Definitely. And that's kind of the plan moving forward. I don't want people to think that you get sober and and everything's great. Everything does get better. Everything does get better. What did you say? Monk said, worst day sober. Had a few. the worst ones have been deaths in the family, to be honest. And you know, with that, didn't really have the urge to use, but dealing with deep emotions like that on a sober level, because in the past, like when my grandmother passed away, I took that one real hard, and like I spiraled out of control. I started ending up in and out of jail not too long after that because I didn't know how to, like, the thing about sobriety is you have to be able to confront your own emotions and work through things. You know what I mean? Like the stages of grief and stuff like that. Like, you know, it's a real thing. But if you're smoking the pipe or using a needle or taking a pill, whatever it is you do, drinking a bottle, you don't process through that, and you know it's still there. Like with my grandmother that passed away, I have not been back to the house where she lived. She didn't own the house, but I've been to Long Beach several times. You know, it's been decades now, and I refuse to go down the street where she lived because I never processed that loss, and I think like maybe a part of me thinks she's still there, and I just don't want to go there and see somebody else living there. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm kind of rambling, I guess. The gratitude list, I like that. Hey, we haven't left yet, Ezekiel. Processing emotion, yeah, it really is. It really, you know, that's one of the tougher ones. I try to keep myself grounded. I don't like to get too high or too low. Like I want to stay. I want to hover somewhere in the middle. You know, because it seems like when I do, when I'm like in a really great, amazing mood and I'm dancing and happy and stuff like that, like the crash is coming. So I try to keep it like on a more level base basis. I don't know. So anyways, so if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do so. If you don't want to subscribe, then don't subscribe. Let's just keep it real, right? Like, I can't reach through the phone and hit that button for you. No sense to let out the dark stuff. No shame in reliving pain. Yeah, I agree. I am sober. As far as Suboxone or methadone go, I think that they can be very useful in uh, transitioning. You know, I don't have a lot of, like, my drug of choice was meth. So as far as the opiates go, like, I don't have any real experience with that. But from what I've heard, it's great for pain management, and you know, as long as it's used appropriately, I think it's a good thing. Now, um, yeah, I mean, I'll say that. It really is, Monk. It really is. So yeah, it's all about the total life change. It's all about being a little better today than you were yesterday. And because if who's Ron? I mean, ultimately, what I'm promoting here is let's be a better version of ourselves today than we were yesterday. Let's be that role model for our kids and our grandkids, because whether you like it or not, you are a role model. Believe me when I tell you. You don't have to. It don't have to be somebody positive to be a role model. Somebody taught you to do dope, right? That was a role model. The first time I did a line, I was in the Baker's drive-thru in San Bernardino, Highland and what is it, Highland and Waterman, across from St. Bernardine's, and the drain hit. And I was completely disgusted by it, and I spit it out. And my partner that was with me, a role model, if you will, that showed me how to do a line, said, "What are you doing, dude? You're spitting it all out. Don't do that." And I looked at him like, "What the fuck are you talking about? That's disgusting." And then like a half an hour later, we were doing more lines. So I don't know. All good, Ezekiel. But role models, right? They come in all shapes, sizes, colors. You know what I mean? And some are good, some are bad. But damn. Yeah, my dad was a prescription pill popper, which his thing was opiates. Imagine that, you know what I mean? And somehow I ended up on the uppers. But, you know, I turned to the streets kind of early, and I started off actually smoking meth. And one of my partners, he's still around, he's clean now too, said, "Bro, you're wasting it by smoking it. Let's chop up some lines. It lasts longer that way." And I said, "Well, fuck it. Let's chop up some lines, you know." And I did that first one. Oh my God, I was like, holy shit, that hurts. But addiction kicked in. Addiction was already there. I mean, I was already smoking it. I was already used to the effects of it. And now I found something else that I liked, you know? So, but, you know, role models, right? And then when I got clean, I found other role models that had similar experiences to what I had been through. Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. And I'm not saying telling those stories to glorify anything by any means at all. If you've never used, please don't. Like it's the worst mistake you'll ever make, with no matter what the drug may be. You know, if you don't have any business with it, then stay away from that shit. And if somebody's offering you that shit, then they're not your friend. Run away. Don't talk to them. Block them on all your social medias. Anyone older I looked up for the most. I hear you, Travis. Yeah, and that, like, that was kind of. See, my dad, he was present, but he wasn't, I guess you would say. Like he was. This was back in the times where he had 3 different doctors, and they were all prescribing him antidepressants, I guess, or I'm not sure exactly what he was taking, but you know, they were opiate based. Right? I hear you. Why is that message restricted? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. There's a message restricted though. So yeah, you know, people around you are trying to convince you that you should get on drugs. Those are not your friends. You are not going to be cool if you decide to do drugs with them. Your misery loves company. You know what I mean? Don't be a part of it. It's definitely not the way. But yeah, and that's funny because I didn't like drinking beer when I was a teenager. I liked liquor because I thought I was next level or something. I thought I was cooler than the kids drinking the 40 ounces. I just didn't like the way the 40s tasted. Give me some vodka and Coke or something, and that was my thing. But I got involved with all the wrong people early on, and my dad was a hustler, like I said. So yeah, that's weird. I don't know. I've never heard of that before. Crushing up Smarties, but yeah, that definitely not the way to go. You know. And the thing is, I always say this. If look at your friends. Your friends are a good reflection of who you are. If you're hanging around a bunch of people that are still in catalytic converters, chances are you're a catalytic converter thief. Whether you're the driver or you're down there with the sawzall, bzzz, hoping not to get shot. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Uh, Bumps of pixie sticks. Jacob told me something about the Smarties thing when he. Oh, really? Yeah, I haven't heard of that one. That's We all did bumps and pixie sticks. Oh man, built-in straw, huh? Yeah, I guess I'm removed from the scene, so I don't know. I don't understand that. That's strange, Joe. But luckily, he was smart enough not to do that sort of stupid stuff. Well, I think we're gonna bring this one to an end, guys. It's been a good one. Maybe, just maybe, I'll jump back on again a little bit later. Maybe we can get Joel to come on through and tell us how he's doing. Um, unless you're out there, Joel. If you're out there, sound off. We want to know how you're doing. Yeah, have a good night, Solid. I appreciate everybody's participation in this. This was a good one. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. Do all that stuff. Like I said, it maybe later on I'll jump back on. I don't know. We'll see. If not, maybe tomorrow we'll kind of leave it open. My goal is to do one live a week, and then hopefully, I don't think they made him smart either, Ezekiel. Uh, Once again, congratulations to Monk on 21 years of sobriety, man. You are the role model people need to see. You know what I mean? Yes, he was definitely a leader. Have a good night, Travis, Ezekiel, everybody that participated. Faith, family, freedom, and fitness are the things that allowed me to get my life together, and they can help you as well. Um, if you're new here and you enjoy this sort of content, be sure to subscribe. Share it to somebody that may enjoy this sort of content as well. And don't, as Ezekiel said, don't look at the mountain. Just start climbing. Have a good one, guys. I'll talk to you next time.